pollsters about where these campaigns are right now. John McLaughlin is with us. John Zogby here as well. Okay, so John McLaughlin, since we're talking some battleground states, we had a poll that we'd like to ask you about. The latest one showing that they're virtually in a tie. Trump and Harris neck and neck in Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Trump having a slight edge on Harris in Georgia, North Carolina, whereas Harris leads in Nevada and Wisconsin barely. McLaughlin, can you talk to us about what we're seeing in this poll?
Well, certainly, because after she's gotten the Harris honeymoon, where she's gotten 2.5 weeks or more of great press. And really, yesterday was the first day that you saw her come out and speak, and it was at a rally, but she hasn't held a press conference. She hasn't been held accountable. So with all that press, we're very happy to be where we are. Last week, we had a poll out that Trump was up 2 nationally. June, before the debate with Biden, we were up 2 nationally. So these battleground states, we're running like we're behind, and we're running really hard. But I'll tell you what, it's a great position to be in compared to where we were in 2016 and 2020. And with Harris now picking Waltz, who's probably, as President Trump said, this is the most extremely liberal ticket the Democrats have ever nominated. It's an opportunity for us to really define them on the issues, and that hasn't happened over the last 2.5 weeks during the Harris honeymoon.
Speaking of that, John Zogby, this same poll that we're showing you from CBS showing Kamala Harris has a slight lead over Trump when it comes to the choice of president. This is among likely voters. This is an overall, as you know, battleground states, that's really where it counts when you really want some results here. But if you throw RFK in there and other names, you see there is a 2-point bump that Harris is receiving. I'm just curious how long the so-called honeymoon phase in terms of polling would last. John Zogby.
Boy, the rules have changed so much because we're so hardened and we're at equilibrium. And so Harris being within 2 points or Trump being within 2 points, that's the bump. You know, that's the post-GOP convention bump. Trump went up by a couple. That's the post-Harris announcement. She went up by a couple. And you look at the battleground states, those are tied, or Harris now up 1. Fundamentally, we're going to go into November with this being neck and neck. I don't think there are any big bumps. I don't think there are any big catastrophes that could change the nature of this until maybe at the very last minute when some undecided start to break. But this is where we are. Look at 49-47. I wouldn't rest easily on that one.
It's just a matter of time. Who can run out the clock, right? And will we see an October surprise that will surprise us even more than what happened in the month of July? I mean, it's just crazy to think about this news cycle we've lived through. I know we haven't really got the data yet on VP picks for Harris, right, Governor Walz, but Newsweek did look into his name recognition. Reporting this, a Marist poll that found Walz has lower name recognition than J.D. Vance. However, those polled viewed Walz more favorably than they did Vance. So, John McLaughlin, what do you take away from this?
By the way, that last YouGov poll that you just cited that had Harris up by 2, our campaign found that they had skewed the number of liberals in that poll versus conservatives to get her ahead, because if it matched up with the record turnout of 2020 of 160 million voters, that poll would have had Trump ahead. But it's, as John Zogby said, and he's correct, it's close. Like, we had Trump up 2 last week, and Harvard Harris had him up 4, and the Rasmussen Reports has us up 5. But other polls are showing it closer. But you can see where I'm used to this, where they have us like down 10 or 14 to this, skewing it. And I've had to fight through that when it was a close election in 2016, 2020. But now you're seeing that, they're trying to, put her a little ahead by changing the results of the turnout compared to what it actually is in past presidential elections. Yeah. So I just had to mention that because it's something that you're going to have to look at each of these polls and go through the internals and see how it matches up with past turnouts.